path of darkness. The lanterns were drawn low, their light softened until it seemed to hesitate at the edges of the courtyard. Shadow gathered easily here, pooling in the corners of stone and ivy, as if the place itself remembered how to listen. Thalanor stood at the center, hands folded loosely at his back. When he spoke, his voice carried without effort, calm as breath. "You have practiced Shadow Cloak," he said. "I can see it in the way you hold your magicka now. Let's see if you are ready for more." His gaze moved between us, not weighing, not judging, simply noticing. It fell on me. "Show me," Thalanor invited. My pulse quickened. I glanced toward Tyrell without thinking. He caught the look and gave a faint nod. Nothing showy, just reassurance. Together, it seemed to say, "We've done this before." I drew a slow breath and reached inward, remembering the feeling rather than the motion, not grasping, not forcing, letting the shadow brush close. Then the world thinned. The courtyard blurred at the edges, lantern light dimming as the shadow folded around me like cool silk. I felt myself slip, not gone, not entirely hidden, but unseen enough. The cloak loosened, and I was back, breath steady, feet still planted on stone. Barely more than a second, but it was there. Thalanor nodded, then shifted his gaze towards Tyrell, a subtle but unmissable invite. Tyrell stepped forward. His cloak came differently, tighter at first, then smoothing as he let go. He vanished in a soft distortion of air, a ripple where he had stood. When he reappeared, his shoulders lifted slightly with the effort, but there was a spark of satisfaction in his eyes. Our gazes met again, brief and quiet. No words passed between us, but something settled all the same. Practice leaves its mark, even when it's done in silence. Thalanor inclined his head. "Better," he said simply. "Both of you." The shadow recognizes familiarity. You are learning not to shout for it, not to cling to it. He paced a slow circle around us, steps unhurried. "A second is enough for now. Cloak is not measured by duration alone, but by honesty. Continue to practice it, together if you wish. The faintest curve touched his mouth. The shadow often listens more readily when it is shared. Warmth stirred in my chest at that. Not pride, exactly, but relief. Thalanor came to a stop once more at the center of the courtyard. The shadows at his feet deepened, attentive. You are ready to learn what comes next, he said. Cloak teaches you how to disappear. His eyes lifted, bright and intent. Now, we will speak of how the shadow can become a path. I felt the shift before I saw it. The darkness at his feet thickened, pulling as though called by something deeper than command. With the precise movement of his hand, the shadows stretched outward, weaving themselves into a narrow corridor that formed a path in front of him. When Thalanor stepped into it, his pace quickened, his movement suddenly effortless, unnaturally smooth, as though the floor itself urged him forward. This is Path of Darkness, he explained. The cloak is for oneself. The path is for others as well. It is not selfish. In time, you will learn to shape it, steady enough for allies to follow, or sharp enough that those who pursue you regret the step. His golden gaze turned to Terrell first. You begin. Terrell nodded once, jaw set. He closed his eyes and drew inward, muttering a quiet, rhythmic breath under his tongue. Shadows spilled out around him, jagged at first, unruly, before smoothing into a thin, wavering corridor. He stepped onto it and walked its length, the path shimmering faintly, as if unsure whether it wished to remain. Thalanor joined him, moving slowly along the corridor, his hand brushing the edges of shadow as though testing the grain of unseen stone. When they reached the end, he gave a measured nod. Not precise, he said, but strong. It listens to you, even when your focus falters. Continue refining your control. Terrell stepped back, a flicker of satisfaction crossing his face before he masked it. Then Thalanor's attention shifted to me. Your turn. My breath caught. I gathered my magicka, hands trembling as the shadows stirred around me like smoke caught in water. They scattered at first, refusing to hold. I bit my lip, exhaled slowly, and tried again, this time loosening my grip, letting the darkness stretch instead of trying to force it to obey. A corridor formed, thin, fragile, but real. I stepped forward, and the sudden rush of speed startled me, pitching me into a brief, clumsy stumble before I found my footing. My heart hammered as I moved, the shadows humming beneath my feet. Dalinor entered the path beside me, his presence steady, testing each step against the weave I had made. By the time we reached the end, sweat beaded along my brow. He studied me for a long moment. "Fragile," he said at last, "but alive. You cling less than before, which is good. Let the shadow trust you, and it will grow stronger." He stepped back, his gaze sweeping over both of us. "Practice until the path answers without hesitation. In time, I will not be the one to walk it with you. Others will." With that, he turned away, his form already dissolving into the half-light, swallowed by the shadows he commanded so effortlessly. I released a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. For a brief moment, my eyes met Terrell's, his steady, assured, mine uncertain, but lit with the quiet thrill of progress.